Welcome to the Retiring Canada podcast, where our mission is to educate and empower you to make the most informed, rational, and productive financial decisions. Hosted by certified financial planner, author, and chartered investment manager Michael Isbister, you'll go behind the scenes to uncover the tips and strategies to help you invest smarter, optimize your retirement income, and reduce the amount of tax you pay. Michael is an investment advisor with Fundamental Wealth, a trade name of Harbourfront Wealth Management, an IROC dealer. And now, here's your host, Michael Isbister.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to the Retiring Canada podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss advisory fees. Specifically, I'm going to chat about the two most common kinds of advisory fee models in Canada, the range of advisory fees you may come across, what true advisory value looks like. Is working with an advisor the right choice for you? And lastly, as always, a few action items for you to consider. Now, many investors seek a formula or a magic number to help them justify the fees they pay for financial advice. The reality is that every investor has a unique financial journey, and helping investors feel positive about their financial position as they move toward achieving their goals can be a major part of the value of professional financial advice. Now, to be clear, what I will be talking about today is the price you pay for advice when working with an advisor, though I will very briefly discuss investment fees, which are another crucial piece to this puzzle. But before that, it's important for me to distinguish between the two dominant systems for how advisory fees are charged in Canada: commission-based and fee-based. First is commission-based, where you pay the advisor per transaction for buys and sells. The advisor may also receive compensation directly from the products they are selling. Next is fee-based. This is when you pay a percentage based on the amount of assets held at the firm. Today, the trend is towards a more fee-based model in Canada, with much more of this shift being brought about by client-focused reforms that have put the magnifying glass on how clients pay fees and brings to surface conflicts of interest that can arise in the advisor-client relationship. We are proudly fee-based. We are paid by our clients and not by product. So with that piece out of the way, let's quickly chat about investment fees, also referred to as fund-level expenses. These are what an investor will pay to gain exposure to an investment, sometimes referred to as an MER, or management expense ratio. This will depend on the type of investment you choose and can range widely, anywhere from as low as 0.1% all the way up to 1.5% and higher. The discussion about investment fees deserves its own podcast in the future, and I will delve a bit deeper into investment types, their fees, and their overall impact on a retirement investor. So please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. So back to the purpose of today's episode: understanding advisory fees. These can range between 0.5 or lower for wealthy households, all the way up to 2% in some instances. Generally speaking, the more money you invest with the firm, the lower your advisory fee. As an aside, let me peel back a bit of industry-specific information you're probably not aware of. If you work with an advisory team that works with a large firm, the advisory team does not necessarily receive the full fee you pay as compensation for the services they provide. Most institutions take a percentage of that advisory fee so that the advisor and his or her team have a platform to provide advice, compliance support, and a platform to provide solutions to clients. So say, for example, you pay the advisory team you work with 1% to advise you on your $1 million retirement asset. the $10,000 you pay in advisory fees doesn't all go to them. Likely that number is closer to half, the other half going to the firm. But hey, at the end of the day, the percentage that goes to the advisory team or the firm they work with makes no difference to you, as you still have to pay the full amount. So the advisory fee is what you pay for, well, advice, or in more ideal terms, value. To elaborate on that, this value and advice should not be investment guidance only. Well, this is a critical part of the advisory relationship and your ability to retire successfully. Your advisor should also be providing value in other areas of your personal finances, from tax minimization strategies and estate planning, creating a sustainable retirement income, to clear and concise communication and service. So while everyone should understand the fees they are paying for services they receive, purchasing the lowest cost option is not always the best decision. Many factors need to be considered, such as the quality of the service, experience and expertise of the advisor, range of services offered, interactions with the provider, level of customer service, and overall experience. Cost is unlikely to be the primary consideration when selecting a physician or lawyer, and the same notion should apply to professional financial advice. You may think I'm a bit biased here, as this is how I make my living. But in all honesty, I have seen how the impact of smart financial decisions can materially change someone's life forever in amazing ways. I truly believe that this is the best profession in the world. And you can ask my wife. I am sure she might be getting sick of me saying that, but it's the truth. And why? Because I know that through delivering massive value to my clients, that they are better off working with me, regardless of the advisory fee they pay. In my opinion, the advisory fee paid by a client is only an issue when there is a lack of value. Ultimately, you need to understand the value proposition of your current advisory team or potential advisory team is bringing to the table. Moreover, what are you getting for that advisory fee in actionable advice that grows your net worth? Whether it be saving tax and making smarter investment decisions, to having a clear and defined service model so you know exactly what you're signing up for and how that value will be communicated to you. Let's discuss a hypothetical scenario of a client-advisor relationship that lasts, say, 25 years. During that time, the client pays an advisory fee of around $10,000 a year. Put that out over 25 years, and that is $250,000 this hypothetical couple will pay in advisory fees during their lifetime of working with an advisor. And I get it. When you write that number down, you will probably scoff. Now, if we take this hypothetical retiring couple with $1 million who pays these fees and start to layer in some advice, we start to paint a picture that highlights massive value. Here's how an ongoing planning relationship with this couple might go over a 25-year relationship. First off, after a thorough discussion about retirement, we're able to create a retirement income plan that decreases their tax payable by $5,000 a year by utilizing deferrals, income splitting, and spousal loan arrangements. Next, after understanding their cash needs and creating a sustainable retirement income, we reviewed their home, auto, health, and life insurance policies and restructured their plans to save them an additional $2,500 a year. Next, we noticed they had their retirement portfolios set up tax inefficiently, with taxable investments in their non-registered accounts that really should be in their TFSAs and other registered accounts. This alone saving them another $5,000 a year in tax payable. Next, we help advise them on their CPP and OAS and defined benefit pension start dates in a manner that was tax efficient, considered other income sources, and their longevity to optimize and increase their guaranteed income by $5,000 a year. Next, we discussed a cottage property that they had owned for over 25 years that they were planning to sell. By utilizing the primary residence exemption on the cottage rather than the house, we helped advise them in tax savings of over $50,000. Furthermore, by looking at the big picture, through the years of monitoring and adjusting over the 25-year relationship, we were able to restructure their finances in a manner that wound down their holding company and shifted their inefficient taxable accounts to tax-preferred holdings to decrease their estate tax and increase their net estate by $500,000. So, adding all these up, through a comprehensive approach, we were able to save this hypothetical couple nearly $1 million over the course of our relationship. Net of advisory fees they paid, they were still $750,000 better off working with our team. And this is the kind of thing we come across all the time. So in reality, nearly double the advisory fee could have been charged, and the clients would still be ahead $500,000 at the end of the day. And this is just the stuff we can measure in dollars and cents. We aren't factoring in things like behavioral coaching during turbulent markets that can protect a retirement portfolio from poor investment decisions like moving to cash. Or how about shifting retirement income withdrawal sources during market uncertainty to protect a retirement portfolio from sustainable drawdowns? What about the value of simplifying their finances with a clear and consistent communication style? What about your time? What is your time worth? And how much of it is saved by hiring a professional team to do the heavy lifting? As you can see, much of what an advisor team brings to the table is much harder to put an exact dollar figure on. If you're curious about the value our team provides, I encourage you to check out the link in the show notes to our complimentary planning process to help you evaluate the value of our advisory team. At the end of the day, financial planning done right is where an advisory team can provide the most amount of value, not stock or fund picking. A comprehensive planning approach leads to more informed decisions that compound over time to provide more and more long-term value. I guess what I'm saying here is that you deserve value for what you pay. And in the absence of value, advisory fees are an issue. Now, I understand that some of you may be DIY investors or are simply just trying to figure out if paying an advisor is worth it. Think of the value of advice in this way: a professional athlete and his or her coach. If you observe many of the best athletes in the world, they have a coach. And why do they have a coach? The coach is there to provide an objective point of view and provides discipline. They're out there constantly scanning the environment, looking for new techniques, new ways, and ultimately want to help the athlete achieve a higher level. I think professional advice kind of acts in the same way. An independent advisor will provide an objective point of view, provide discipline to stay the course, and they're out there always looking for ways to improve the client's financial journey and destination. And in the process, advisors can develop a deep level of trust with clients, similar to the relationship between a good coach and a professional athlete. Okay, so action items for today's podcast. First, what are you paying your advisor team for advice? Does this include financial planning, tax minimization, and estate planning, and more? Second, don't settle. Explore your options. I understand change can be difficult, but if you want to get the most out of your retirement journey, you may need to get out of your comfort zone to see what other options are out there. Lastly, value is in the eye of the beholder, and what you're willing to pay for the value that will be specific to you and your family's own circumstances. What I can tell you is that cheaper isn't always better, and at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. If you want to have a discounted fee, you're likely to receive a discount in value one way or another. At the end of the day, it is up to you to decide the price tag you're willing to pay for peace of mind. Okay, so that does it for today's episode. For all the links and resources, check out the show notes. If you like the show, you're enjoying it, please leave us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app. Sign up for the weekly Retiring Canada newsletter. And hey, as always, when it comes to your retirement, don't take chances. Make a plan so you can retire with confidence.
All comments are of a general nature and should not be relied upon as individual advice. The views and opinions expressed in this commentary may not necessarily reflect those of Harbourfront Wealth Management. While every attempt is made to ensure accuracy, facts and figures are not guaranteed. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing or tax advice. Please seek advice from your accountant regarding anything raised in the content of the podcast regarding your individual tax situation. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.